Um, this is not a prayer. That little collection was published by Pudding House. Um, they've done a series of pretty good anthologies of poetry that I've published in too. Um, this collection came about. It was comical. It was sort of a game I played for a while. Charles Bukowski came to UNO when I was teaching there, and turned out to be so different than the myth that surrounds Charles Bukowski. Pleasantly dressed in a nice suit or sportswear, drank coffee, wanted to go to the Bohemian Cafe, I think is where we took him for lunch or dinner or something. Loved Mozart. Very different than the public image. Now, that doesn't mean that his private image isn't what it's all claimed to be, but that's not the persona that we entertain. And among his poems, and there are so many poems, one of them is a "This Is Not" poem. And the whole idea just excited me. I just loved the idea. And I think it was even published after his death in some press, maybe Sparrow Press or something, did a series until they published everything that he had written. And he wrote more than I did. And good God, I've got 6,000 poems out there, or written, maybe about 2,500 published. So I thought, well, I'm going to write me a "This Is Not" poem. And I think the first one I wrote was "This is not a Dear John letter" or something, or "This is not a prayer. This is not a." And it was just gave me such an interesting way of looking at things, and being able to write about things you can't normally write about in poetry. You can't really write about, you got to write about things you can put on a fork, things you can take a photograph of. People need images so that the metaphors, work, even if you use a lot too much displaced metaphors. Some poets do. But there must be, a place where the mind goes, oh, fog comes on little cat's feet. Look at how many things those two strange and unusual, diverse things have in common. Sneaky, quiet, all that. So now you can write about freedom and justice and love and all sorts of things, and give some flesh to it. So the "This Is Not" collection sort of just emerged. And then I can't remember how it came about that Pudding House did it. I'm sure I submitted it to them. And I think they wrote to me about doing the great poems or something. I didn't figure that I had that many great poems. Anyway, they took it and they published it, and they have a strange setup there at Pudding House, but I ended up with this collection that is sold pretty well. I certainly like the poems. A lot of people find them interesting. Sometimes they're funny, although I'm not always sure that I intended for them to be funny. And of course, this is perhaps not a very good explanation.